You're an online seller and you want to know in which class you should register your trademark. Hey everybody, my name is Marcella Dominguez. I'm a trademark lawyer helping you with your online and offline business needs. In today's video, we are going to cover in which class you should register your trademark if you're an online seller. We are going to be covering three important things. Number one, is it okay for you to take Google's advice? When you type in your question, should you be accepting Google's answer as truth for you? Number two, what happens if you took Google's advice and you learned that you screwed up? How do you fix it? Number three, how do you figure out the right class without listening to Alexa, Google, or Siri? How do you figure out the right class without having to figure it out the hard way?
Well, let's dive in.
It has come to my attention that a lot of you are doing a Google search for in which class should I register my trademark, either for my online store or because I'm selling this particular product within my online store. And I ask myself, if I was in your shoes, would I feel confident taking the advice of Google? Whatever it is that Google is putting up on the screen for me, is it safe to assume that Google is giving me the right information? Here's the likely scenario. Person A has an online store selling really amazing keychains. Person B has an online store selling jewelry. And person C has an online store, but within a third-party platform. So for example, person C might have a store on Etsy, Amazon, or on eBay. So all of these three people, A, B, and C, are doing the same Google search for, and I ask myself, do each of these three people think that it's okay to take the advice of Google when they all sell different things? Tell me in the comments below, what do you think? Would you trust Google? Should you trust Google? Or have you been trusting Google? So Google can be a great place to try to find the answers to your questions, but when you are talking about a trademark application, it might be a little bit complicated. You see, when you're typing in the question, hey Google, can I register in this class? Or in which class should I register? You're not giving her context. And let me tell you something, even if you gave Alexa or Siri context, they don't really care. They don't really understand the context of your personal situation. So going back to my person A, B, and C example, Alexa and Siri are not asking you what exactly do you sell and on which platform do you plan to sell. So why am I even bringing this up? Well, it is important to know context. A trademark lawyer is going to be asking you these questions. Where do you plan to sell? How do you plan to sell? When do you plan to sell? And more importantly, let's cover what you actually sell or plan to sell and where it is going to be available for sale. And that is the problem with asking Google for the answer to a trademark question, is it's not always going to result in a context-specific answer. It's going to be a general answer. So it begs the question, should I take the risk and should I listen to Google's trademark advice when it comes to my online store for my trademark application? And the answer is at your own risk, people. If you already know that Alexa, Siri, Google don't have context for where you're selling, how you're selling, then know that it might not apply to you. In some cases, yes, it might apply to you and you might get registered and everything's going to be dandy. Number two, what happens if you took Google's advice and you learned that you screwed up? How do you fix it? But for those of you that take the advice and then figure out down the road that you actually registered in the wrong class, well, you're going to be SOL. And the reason is because the United States Patent and Trademark Office does not return your money. And of course, it does not reimburse you for your wasted time. So make sure you're doing things the right way, either by scheduling a consultation down below or sending an email. It's always free to do so, and make sure that you're registering in the right class because the right class is the crux of your application. And if you screw that up, there is really no going back. So there are certain instances in which you are able to correct a class, but there are limitations. And trust me, the USPTO does not necessarily make it easy to add a product if you've missed something. They don't want you to add a service if you've missed something. But for more details on what exactly the USPTO lets you do when you accidentally screw up in your application and you want to fix something, check that video out right there. Number three, so what should you do if you want to choose the right class on the first go around? What should you do? Should you risk it? Should you talk to a trademark attorney even though it might set you back a few dollars? What do? Do you go to the USPTO website and spend all day on there? If you're uncertain, I want to make sure that you feel certain. So if you want somebody to file your trademark for you, you can always scroll down into the description below, and yours truly is always happy to help you with your trademark application, which I have been doing for many, many years now, over 10 years. And mind you, I do everything in my power to make sure that we achieve a trademark registration for you. We even have a little surprise set up for those of you that do not achieve registration but don't want to pay the fees for a second application, but you'll have to email me to find out. So if you're somebody that wants to make sure you get the application done right, you want to make sure you pick the right class, and you're not necessarily sure that you should be taking the advice of Google, Alexa, or Siri. So if you don't want to be taking the advice of Google, Alexa, and Siri, then make sure that you speak to me. The link is below. I want to make sure that you speak to someone before you initiate your trademark application to make sure that you're starting off on the right foot. And for those of you that feel confident enough to take the risk and to take Google's advice, then by all means go for it. But at least I gave you the disclaimer that these artificial intelligence technologies do not understand the context in which you are selling. And lots of people feel like, well, I'm being accurate. I am being very certain that I do have an online store. So why can't I take her advice about an online store? Well, because depending on which platform you sell and depending what you sell, that might not be the right class for you. I wish I could tell you in this video, this is the right class for you. This is perfect for you. It makes total sense, but I can't do that because each and every one of you watching this video has different goals. You sell different items, products, or services, and I don't know whether you have your own online store or you have your own online store within a third-party platform. So all of this changes things, and I hope that makes sense for you. I need to keep creating content that helps you with your trademark journey, and I can't do that if I don't get feedback from you guys. So please drop a comment down below, say it makes sense. And if there's something you want me to cover in the next video, make sure to also tell me in the comments down below. But in the meantime, you really should be watching that video right there because like I said, it goes into more detail about the trademark process if you are somebody that wants to take the advice of Alexa, Google, and Siri. So until the next one.